Hello and welcome back to my tutorial series. This is episode 2 of 2 on leads, and this one is focusing on the processing. In part 1, if you haven't seen it, that was based on how I wrote this top line and the accompanying chords for a modern hardcore lead. So where we left off, we've got a relatively catchy melody, but it's not very well mixed at all. So that with this one, we're going to be focusing on things like EQ, compression, reverb, delay, and stuff like that, just to get it sounding fatter in the mix. Just to save time, I have grouped these channels. So the top line here, these 3 go into this top line group, and the 3 chord layers go into this chord group here. So I'm going to be working through each preset one at a time, starting with the top line. And on this one, I'm going to be starting with the center layer we started with. Take the reverb off for a start because I only put that on just to help me write it, as it sounds a little bit nicer. So most of what I do is pretty much just EQ on the individual channels, and a lot of the effects kind of go through the group channel. So I am going to put an individual EQ on each one. So anything below there is completely pointless, and it only clashed with the chords and the sub chord anyway, so it's just not needed. So I've taken that out. The lead also sounds a little bit dull. I think it could do with some high end. I mean, that seems to work. That's not really, doesn't make it sound too out of character. I think once that's all together, that'll help bring out some high end in there, which would be really nice. The second one is the detuned lead, which again, we're just going to add some EQ onto that. Very little going on down there anyway, but I like to do the EQ cut anyway, just to be sure. Feel that the Serum Super Saw layer has a bit of low end that we probably don't need, so it's definitely going to need a low cut on this one. And then just again on the group, I'm going to add an EQ. I'm not going to do anything with that just yet, but there may be something I want to do once I've added some more effects. So one thing I always like to do with the top line, which I think can help to add some harmonics, is add some saturation first, which is what I'm going to do. And I quite often use this Saturate here, which is free, Melder plugin. And that's helped just to bring it together a little bit. I actually feel like going back to this center layer that it could probably do with something. I'm going to add a wave shape on it. And again, what that's done is the wave shape has just helped to bring out some frequencies and help it kind of just stand out a little bit more between the two super saw sounds. This is a great compressor for leads. And then I'm going to add a reverb group on there as well. And finally, I'm going to add a delay. I don't know why I do the reverb then the delay, but that's the way I do. I don't tend to put the delay on the same bus channel as the reverb. So I put it on a ping pong delay 1/8, and that just kind of bounces around between the left and right speakers, gives it a bit of width. I've also done a low cut so that no low end of the delay is coming through at all, because it's just not needed really. And then that goes through the reverb, which kind of gives it a bit more of an airy effect once again. And I've turned it down quite a lot to turn it down about 75%, so it's only 25% of it is actually coming through at all. Okay, I'm going to do the leads. Both of these have the same plugins on. They're just different layers. So one of them is a harmony layer, and the other one is a layer running on the chords, as I said in the last tutorial. And again, I'm going to be starting with the top layer first, which is the silent super saw layer. And this layer here, the Avenger layer, definitely feels like it needs a little bit more high end. If I take that straight into the reverb, it already sounds a bit nicer. And then also put a compressor on this one as well. And once again, do some saturation on this one as well. I've done a low cut on those to help the sub breathe through, which is what I'm going to look at now, finally. And with that one, it'd be the other way, so I'm just taking out some of the higher frequencies to allow the rest of the chords to breathe. And I'll also put that in mono as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it there for the chords. Going to turn down the sub ever so slightly. Actually, it's got a lot louder now with the and I also feel like there could be another layer in there. Now I've put reverb and stuff on it. Kind of a few things start to stand out to me. So I'm going to clone the first layer and just add another one in. And then I've got a group for all the leads and the reverb to go in. Sometimes I feel like they need a limiter on it, not all of the time, but it can help. And that's once the reverb's going through as well. I may even add some additional EQ in there as well, if I feel it needs it, depending on the sounds I'm using in the track. Okay, so that's kind of a real rough guide to how you can add some processing. So I definitely advise adding individual EQs onto each preset channel. I definitely advise putting your chords into one group, your top line into another, and then it's entirely up to you whether you'd like to do a separate reverb. I mean, sometimes again, depending on the sound, you can put a separate reverb here on your chords and one on your top line, and then send them to this kind of group here. In this instance, I haven't done that. You can also decide to put a delay on your chords. Again, I haven't done that. I've just put it just goes through to the reverb, so it's only the top line has the delay as well. I just think sometimes having some drier sounds can help to kind of everything to punch through. You know, you don't want everything sounding too airy and too floaty, or it just doesn't translate onto on a sound system. That's just my opinion anyway. That's how I do it. You don't necessarily have to add a limiter at the end there, but that's something I feel I do. And again, it's up to you whether you want to add some extra EQ in there. It depends on the sounds you're using, I guess. But hopefully this has helped you to kind of, again, just show you a little bit around how you can put some processing on. So really, it's all about saturation and compression and EQ, and that should help you get you on your way. So I hope this one's helped again. If you haven't, please subscribe, like, etc., share, tell your friends. It all helps. And I'll be back very soon with another tutorial. Thanks for tuning in again. Bye.